Hello, my friends. It's Andy coming to you from Southern California on the Andy Falco Show. I went ahead and just put that the crawler underneath there, just in case. I just have a feeling, based on what I'm watching here on the news. And hey, Chris Seward, nice to see you. I always think about you all the time, and that somehow we needed to connect, and we never did, and something didn't happen. But Chris, hope you're doing well. Hope all of your shows are doing well. I do see your posts, and that's when I think, like, oh shoot, we were going to do something, and I think that I probably failed you. But anyway, glad to see you here. All right, and so I just went ahead and put that down there just because I just have a feeling. It is wow. Our half of our country has gone nuts, and I would like to think that it's actually less than half, but at times it seems like it's an awful lot of people that have lost their ever-loving mind. And I know that what I'm about to tell you is going to actually stop all the rioting in Louisville, Kentucky. I just know that what I have to say is just going to make it all go away. No, it's not. Because people just want to live in a lie. They choose to live in a lie. That is their choice, and that is what they want. It is really kind of crazy. So let me go ahead and get into my sponsors to make sure that you can help me continue with my shows. Hopefully you'll buy some of the coffee, buy some CBD, or actually go ahead and, if you want to learn how to do live broadcasting, go to joinmelive.live. Joinmelive.live. That's my training program. I know I promised those of you that are in the basic intermediate that the advanced is coming up very shortly. It is. Lost the internet yesterday, got kids in school. It has been a little bit of a bear. I will get those videos uploaded into the advanced program very shortly. But those of you that have not even started, you have plenty of time, because there's plenty of videos in the intermediate and basic program. Go to joinmelive.live and use StreamYard, and go to getstreamyard.live. And that is what I'm using now. StreamYard is one of the best platforms, if not the best platform, from going live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, and wherever else. I think there's some maybe something else coming. So right now I'm going live on 5 different Facebook pages, on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, all at the same time. That's all using StreamYard. Get StreamYard.live. Go there to get it today. All right, and then today's happy coffee. This is the peach tea, and we got the lemonade. These give you energy. They give you appetite suppressants. I went from 215 pounds to 190 pounds. And I'm feeling great, feeling good. It's fantastic stuff. And just get some. You'll love it. You'll love the taste of the coffee. Happy coffee. It has happy hormones, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. It boosts those happy hormones, and really just put you in a good mood, regardless of what you're watching on television. It really does. And then CBD. Today's CBD oil, Viseo, one of the top 50 healthcare companies in the world. Today's Viseo, or today's CBDoil.com. Go to today's CBDoil.com to get Viseo. It's fantastic. It has liposome technology. It's a patented formulation. It is fantastic. And then lastly, today's Viseo.com. Today's Viseo.com is the rest of the products that you can get from Viseo, the same company that makes the CBD. They have 2 separate websites. You got to go to one to get the CBD. You got to go to the other, get the other wellness products. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this crawler now, just so you know that's some cussing can happen, because people have lost their ever-loving minds. It is. I don't understand why there's a large portion of our country that loves being lied to. They just really look for, okay, what can we do to lie about something to make it as big of a problem as possible, or to discredit another, conservatives, or discredit the president, or what have you. There's just this, and then they don't care. Like, they really don't care that the president of the United States was spied on by the FBI, the DOJ, and the CIA. They don't care. How do you not care? I would care if it was Obama that was spied on. I mean, I would kind of laugh about it, but I would care. Our president should not be spied on by our own government, and that you don't care just is really crazy. So let's get to the Breonna Taylor thing. The lies that came out of not only Breonna Taylor's incident, but the incident in Atlanta, where the suspect was shot and killed, who shot a taser at a police officer. He was first contacted because he had fallen asleep because he's so drunk in the drive-thru of a Wendy's. That guy, now Richard, right? Richard something or other. Blake, I think it is. Anyway, he was shot and killed. The lies that come out of that, he was shot. He was just sleeping in his car. No, that's what initially he contacted. He was the reason he was contacted. But then it went on to other stuff. He fought with the officers, 2 officers at the same time, took a taser and shot the taser, one of the officers. And that's why he was shot. You have the guy in Kenosha, and I remembered it, Amy. Kenosha, the guy in Kenosha who, he was going on in the car. The cops were driving by and he was checking on his children in the car and they shot him in the back 7 times. No, he's a rapist. He was trying to steal a vehicle. He was threatening the woman that he had raped, and he fought with the cops. He told him he had a knife on him, and there was another knife in the car. He had resisted arrest. He'd been tased twice, and then he was going for the weapon inside the vehicle when he was shot. All right, so that and so we can continue to make crap up, but we're gonna tackle some of these things in regard to the Breonna Taylor case, and I just want to make sure that we bring some things to light, just in case you haven't been paying attention or you don't know. It doesn't hurt to go over some of these things that you've been lied about through NBA players, baseball players, the news media, black activists, white black activists, just in CNN and MSDNC and all the people have literally been lying to you because they like the chaos. They want the looting. They want the buildings to be burnt down. They are hoping that because of these lies that people will actually destroy these democratic cities, because it really is only occurring in democratic run cities for the most part. Let's take a real quick. Chris is on there. We already said hi to him. Amy Feltz. It's a cussing kind of night. All is good. Very good. Christina, nice to see you. And we have Deborah. Nice to see you, Deborah. All right. So let's go through a few things. And if you have any questions, if anything that you're wondering about, and you are not sure about that I don't talk about, feel free to put some of those questions into the comments and I'll do my very best to tackle them if I know the answer. And if I don't, I will let you know that I don't. I'm not going to make anything up. One thing, I actually got to do this first. Before I do this, there's people that are probably going to be seeing this that don't know who I am. I'm a former police officer, 21 years. I have trained law enforcement all over the world, in particular in North America, United States, and Canada, and then even down into South America. I have a colleague who's from Argentina, and he has trained law enforcement throughout South America. I've been in other countries training law enforcement, and I also investigate law enforcement officers and look at hundreds, if not thousands, of search warrants over the years. So I've been doing this for about 30 years in regard to investigating police officers and what they do and what they don't do. And I have testified against law enforcement, just so you know. And as a matter of fact, many law enforcement agencies are not a fan of mine because I have testified against them. That doesn't mean I hate law enforcement. It means I love law enforcement. I want us to do the right thing. I want the canines to be used in a proper manner, whether they're using to bite somebody or search for somebody or search for narcotics or search for bombs. I want them to do it correctly. And so I investigate. I look at thousands of search warrants. I know this stuff like the back of my hand. And I'm telling you, this is what I do for a living. And so I'm not making any sense. I would have no problem telling you that somebody did something wrong in this case. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to point something out that they did do wrong in a sense. But in the end, it's not going to change my thoughts on whether or not any of the officers should be charged. But there is something I think they should have done that I'm not hearing anybody say, because they're so busy with one aspect of the story that they've not really thought this through, and they're trying to say something because they've heard a myth, they've heard a story, and so they've grasped onto this part of the story, which I'm going to address. I know that it's kind of cryptic what I'm doing right now, but I'm going to tell you something that may surprise you that was done and maybe should not have been done. All right, so let's go ahead. Thank you so much for George Soros. Yes, George Soros. So strange. Okay, you're going to get me on a whole nother thing. So first question is, was Breonna Taylor's address on the search warrant? This is, of course, one of the first myths that they came up with and lie that they tried to tell you, that her address was not on the search warrant. And so what I'm going to show you right here is her address on the search warrant. That's the very first thing that's on here. This is the search warrant, right? 20-1371. The 20 is the year of the incident, and then the dash is then the number of the case number. So it's 20-1371 here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And this is the search warrant. And the address right here, St. Anthony Gardens, 3003 Springfield Drive, number 4, Louisville, Kentucky. That's her address. That is her address. And wait, what do they have? They have a picture and they have the door. right? And this whole thought that, well, they went to the wrong place. Well, no, they had a picture on the search warrant. This is the search warrant. It has the address on the search warrant and the pictures of her house, of her apartment on the search warrant. They did not mistake and go to the wrong place. This was her location. And so went to the wrong thing there. The aspect of just this one thing, right, is like the one thing that you kept hearing all the time, that they didn't have her address. It wasn't, they didn't even have her address and they said they didn't have her name on the thing. And I'm going to show you that too, where they're wrong. No, her address was on the search warrant. All right. So they went specifically to her apartment. They identified her apartment and her as somebody that was of interest in this particular case. All right. Now, the questions I'm going to be answering aren't in any specific order. It's going to seem like I'm going back and forth from the search warrant being written to her being shot and then back to what happened. There is no way to talk about these questions without them kind of being jumbled up. So there is no specific particular order in which I'm going to answer these questions. So I may come back and forth between the very first stages of setting up the search warrant to her being shot and killed, and then everything in between. But again, there's no order. So first of all, Breonna Taylor's address was on there. Let's go back to the search warrant really quick, and I'm going to scroll down just a little bit, and there's a part here. And I'm going to come back to that. Hold on. I'm going to scroll down. There's the judge's signature. That's the date, March of 2020, of when the search warrant was written. There's her address again. And there's the pictures of her apartment again on another page. Let's keep going. Hold on. That's the vehicle. So right down here. And about her being a part of this whole thing. Hold on. I got to find it now. I couldn't highlight the areas. I don't have the tool for the PDF here. Hold on one second. Right down here. So number 10 down here, and you probably can't tell. You probably can't see my cursor, but where you see the 4 black dots. Affiant has observed the above listed 2016 Chevrolet Impala in front of 2424 Elliott Avenue. That's the other location that they were serving the search warrant on different occasions. This vehicle is registered to Breonna Trailer. Affiant is the detective who wrote the warrant. Affiant has verified through multiple computer databases that Breonna Taylor lives at, and then they have her address. Why they have it blacked out there, I'm really not sure. Affiant verified through multiple computer databases that as of 2/20/2020, Jamarcus, the driver of the vehicle, as his current home address. And so you can see that her name, it comes up a few times in the search warrant. As an associate of the people that are dealing with the narcotics that they are investigating in this case. So why is that important? It's important because you have to understand that thousands upon thousands of search warrants are served on a daily basis throughout the United States. All right, it's thousands of them. They're written, they're identified. There's different cases involving, child pornography, to rapists, to murder suspects, to narcotics trafficking. Narcotics trafficking, obviously, in our country is a huge problem. It's killing thousands of people a day, right? Thousands of people a day are dying because of narcotics overdoses and gun battles over turf wars and that kind of stuff. Narcotics is a scourge on our country and on our community. And so it is one of those battles. The war on drugs is a whole nother issue. We can get into a whole argument about whether that is a legitimate thing or not. But drugs, in regard to methamphetamine, cocaine, and methamphetamine, cocaine, and heroin, fentanyl, Oxycontin, all these narcotics that are being trafficked are killing people, killing our children, killing our adults. You'll see people that go through a methamphetamine change that are beautiful people, right? Before they start taking this horrible narcotic, and they turn into this ugly, just emaciated, just teeth falling out, yellow thing, because it's destroying them. And it's something that needs to be investigated, and it's a crime. All right. And so just understand that this crime is just something that's actively going on all the time, and search warrants are written all the time. And so these warrants all have very similar things. They have an address, they have pictures of the location, how you're going to identify it. That way you don't go to the wrong address. And then the people that are identified. Some people are the top, right? The main suspects. And then you have your associates, the other people that sometimes will drive a vehicle that has the narcotics in it. They're not really like the kingpin, but there's some of the people that are the mule that are carrying some of the narcotics from point A to point B. Sometimes they don't even know it. But they're people that are going to be named in a warrant that need to be contacted to find out what it is they know about the whole transportation and sales of narcotics. All right. They may not be the main person, but they are the people that are going to be associated and quite often are named in search warrant. Her name is in the search warrant. She has been seen to be traveling with the narcotics dealer, trafficking in narcotics. Her ex-boyfriend, the one who they thought was actually at the door, they claim they thought was at the door, is a narcotic. He was in prison for narcotics dealing. The boyfriend she was with on that night is a known narcotics dealer. Her ex-boyfriend had been arrested several times. You've heard people say that, well, nobody's ever been arrested. No, he was in prison because of the transportation and sales of narcotics. All right. And so that her name is on there is enough for her to be a person of interest that they want to talk to and contact, and her name is on there. Her apartment is on there. So her name is on there. Her address is on there. And they went to the place because, again, as I showed you before, oops, sorry, put it back on there. The picture of her apartment is on there and a vehicle that's related to her. All right. So all that stuff. So that's the first myth that they didn't have her address on there. I'm going to go to this area right here really quick. And let me see. I got to see what my next question is. I already forgot because I got so excited. Sorry, I have a dog in my backyard and a dog I'm training for narcotics detection. Go ahead and bring my video back up here. Yeah, I got these. Hold on. I'm looking for the next thing here. Here we go. I'm going to go to this one right here. So does it matter that no drugs were found? Because you're hearing that too. You're hearing that from defense attorneys or attorneys for the family that's saying, and there were not even any drugs found. That is their big thing, that no drugs were found. But they weren't necessarily looking for drugs in this particular search warrant. It was one of those things that they would have loved to have found if it was there. But when we go here for things to be seized, you got to understand that it's more than just marijuana, cocaine, heroin, meth, and all illegal narcotics or paraphernalia as described in violations of KRS 218A. Any monies, which means money to those liberals that don't understand what monies is, that are proceeds from drug trafficking, any safes that are used to store illegal narcotics or money, any weapons that may be used to protect illegal narcotics or money, any paperwork that may be a record of narcotics sales or that may indicate the transport, concealment, or sales of narcotics, any paper that may be evidence of individuals living in the residence, any documents to include mail matter, which may indicate financial activity stemming from illegal activity, any electronic recording media, computer, software, cameras, or other such devices that may be used to hold or document illegal narcotics activities in violation of KRS 218A, any items that may be evidence of other violations of the Kentucky revised statutes. All right, so get it out of your head that you need just they had to have narcotics. No, it was anything to indicate any documentation, any pictures of them with narcotics. I mean, there's all kinds of things. You're not always going there just to find narcotics. That you're going there to look for all kinds of things, anything to tie everything together. When you're investigating a case, again, I was a detective for several years at Anaheim Police Department, not in addition to being a patrol officer. But when you're looking for evidence in a case, it's not always that main thing. So if there's a homicide with a gun, you're not always just looking for the gun, right? You're not always just looking for the ammo. You're looking for anything else, associations, anything that would give you some some other thing, that maybe an argument they had on a text message or through letter writing, which people don't write letters very often, or any kind of recordings that somebody may have made somewhere, somehow, about, when I get a chance, I'm going to kill that person. Computers are a huge thing. You want to seize computers, and then you take them to the lab and you have them all dissected for things that are not only present on the computer, but those things that have been erased from the computer, because no matter, even if you erase things off a computer, there's still a presence of some of those things on the hard drive of the computer. And so you're looking for a whole bunch of things, not just the thing, not just the narcotics, but also anything that may help you piece everything together to make your case stronger, so that when you do charge somebody with the charges that's going to put them away in jail, that you have all your ducks in a row, not just the narcotics, because sometimes that's just not all you need, right? We learned that in the OJ case. Right? Well, we needed more. They needed more, even though everybody knows he did it. We needed more. All right. And so you're looking for as much as possible to make it easier for the prosecution of a case. So just because there are no narcotics found means nothing. And again, you're going to hear that matters. It does not matter. It does not matter. Even if they found nothing, there is enough of the transportation in that vehicle, and the vehicle was tied to that address, that you need to go inside that address to see if there is anything. Sometimes they're smart enough to not keep anything inside that apartment. Sometimes they're that smart, right? We often have the saying in law enforcement that we catch the stupid ones and we convict the stupid ones, because they're the ones who make the mistakes. But on occasion, you do run across a very intelligent criminal who is smart enough to not keep things like this on their property. But how are you going to know unless you serve the search warrant? You'll never find out. So just because somebody says, and there was no narcotics, so that means that they should not have killed her. Well, they did not know. They were serving the search warrant to see if there was anything inside that apartment, because it was an apartment that was seen during surveillance where they were driving back and forth, and it was her address where the vehicle was registered to. Don't be an idiot, you dumbass. Jeez. All right. So let's go back. I'm going to go back up to here. Was Breonna Taylor shot dead while she slept? And the answer is no. As a matter of fact, when they went in there, she was down in the hallway. So she didn't get shot and then somehow just float and then land in the hallway. She was up walking. She was up in the hallway when she was shot. She was not sleeping. And so this idea that these officers just stopped, let's go. We know some black people that live in that apartment. Let's go while they're sleeping in the middle of the night, and let's just go shoot her in her sleep in the head. Because that is the impression that many people were given, that this poor girl who was supposedly an EMT was shot while she was sleeping with no other context, right? No other context. I mean, I've heard such silly stuff that the cops just showed up at this apartment and barged in, kicked down the door, wrote on a napkin the search warrant, this no-knock warrant, and then kicked the door open and went and shot her in the head while she was asleep. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. The reason being is because they knocked. They knocked, even though this was a no-knock warrant. We're going to get to that in 1 second. And so they were up, right? They were scrambling. And again, whether they thought it was the ex-boyfriend that had gotten out of prison that was coming there to seek revenge on her new boyfriend or what have you, it's again, the tragedy is that she's dead and got shot. That is a tragedy. But the thought that they walked up and went in and kicked the door down and shot her dead in her sleep is false. They thought, supposedly, based on some statements, that maybe it was somebody else, not the cops. They were up. She was coming down the hallway. Her boyfriend shot and hit the sergeant in the leg, and the cops returned fire where she was shot while she was standing, not sleeping in her bed, in the hallway, and took, I think, something like 6 rounds is what the DA said yesterday. Daniel Cameron said yesterday that she took 6 rounds. One was in the foot, and that one wasn't quite known. So they originally thought it was 5, and it was 6. Only one of the bullets that hit her actually killed her. The rest were wounds that would not have killed her. But one wound hit her probably in the heart or the head, and she was down and dead in the hallway, but not in the bed asleep. All right. So that is a myth. Let me come to the comments really fast here just to see what's going on. Christina talks about Aldo from Argentina. Yeah, that's my buddy from Argentina. Great dog trainer, police officer with Argentina. What about George Soros funding this national? Yes. Yeah. There's every indication he's funding quite a bit of it. And thank you, Debbie, for referring somebody to this show. She was also being investigated. Yes, she was also being investigated. Well, thank you. Absolutely. Her name is in the search warrant. Let's see. I want to thank you for it. Oh, you're very welcome. All right. So let's get back. Oops, I did it again. I clicked on the wrong thing. All right. So let's go ahead and get to our next question here that I want to answer. So was Breonna Taylor an EMT at the time of her death? And the reason I bring this up, and it really should not be an issue, is that it's because, and I got to actually take this away. I got to stop streaming that and put this other one up. It's just because what they want to do is they want to play on your heartstrings, that somehow that she was just this innocent person who was sleeping and shot while she was asleep, which was I just told you is not true. That she was this emergency medical technician, right? The only picture you really see her show, probably the very first picture they show on the news is her in her uniform back in 2016. Remember, this incident happened in 2020. All right, so back in 2016, she graduated and was an EMT. The problem was she was only an EMT for a couple months in 2016, and there's an indication that she was fired. And so let me just go ahead and I'm going to put up this article right here, and I'm going to scroll down, and it says her personal records show. This is from MSN News, powered by Microsoft News. And MSN News says her personal records show that she worked for the city from January 2016 through November 2016. So January to November. So remember, she was shot and killed in, I believe it's March of 2020. So this is 4 years before. All right. She was promoted to become an EMT in June of that year and worked in that capacity for 5 months. It was a career her family has said she was proud of. The documents show she'd called that November and resigned. A termination form was also found. Form also has a box checked status, do not rehire. So she was terminated and it was said, do not rehire. But it does not state a reason why. Now, I did some digging and I found an indication. It isn't from a reliable source per se, but what I'm told by somebody else in law enforcement, and this is the best I can tell you, is that, and this is what I was sent. She was forced to quit years ago. So forced to quit, but it says terminated and don't rehire years ago because a dead body was found in a car rented under her name. The victim was an associate of her drug dealing boyfriend. And that's why she was forced to retire. So again, I've not having but that is from a law enforcement person, very high in law enforcement, who is giving me that information. I've not been able to confirm that with any other source. However, I'm sure it's out there. Before I was able to go live, I wasn't not able to find it. I was just trying to find. So that was so she was an EMT for somewhere in the neighborhood of about 3 years or more at the time she was killed. So they keep talking to her that she's this EMT, right? Emergency medical technician, that she's working as an EMT. No, she was working as an assistant in an emergency room. And that is about as again, what they're trying to do though, is paint this picture that she was just this really innocent little girl that was shot, and she was like a pillar of the community. Now, she may have been trying to clean up her life. I don't know, but you see what they're doing though. This is what the media is doing in order to try to sell the story that it was this innocent girl who was an EMT who was sleeping. The cops kicked in the door without knocking and shot her in the head. Right? That is what they want you to hear over and over again. EMT, girl sleeping, beautiful black girl sleeping, and the cops kicked open the door and shot her in the head. Not the case. I'm just trying to paint a little bit of a different picture that is one aspect that they're lying to you because they want you to have this other idea about who this person was. She knew who she was hanging out with. She knew who her boyfriends were. She knew that her boyfriend's in prison for drug dealing, and she knew who her next boyfriend is. She knew that they were investigating her. This is not a secret. This is not something that just randomly happened one night, that she did not have an idea that the kind of lifestyle that she was running may lead to a search warrant of her residence, that, bad things happen when you're running around with drug dealers. That's just, that is no secret in the black community. All right. I'm just telling you, you have to understand this. Whenever I've arrested somebody for drug dealing, they know that they're in the drug dealing business. They know that they're probably they're trying everything they can not to get caught on a daily basis. This isn't just some random thing that happened one day. Like that she found herself, oh, I'm hanging around drug dealers? I didn't know. No, that's not what happened. All right. So I know I beat that up, but it's really important because, again, it's this picture that people are trying to paint that is completely different than what really is truth. All right. Why doesn't MSDNC? Because they hate our president. They hate our country. They hate everything about conservatives. They hate everything about the freedoms that we have in our country. It is it's just it's a problem that we have right now in our country with people. I know it's a rhetorical question, but I had to answer it too. I hope they release all of this info to the public. I was up late last night reading the report. Fascinating and very informative. Yes, awesome. See, I love people that actually do the research, right? They're like, wait a minute. You got people that the only thing they do is listen to, I don't even know the basketball player's name. I always forget his name. He's the tall guy. That wears Breonna Taylor on his back. Like, what do you crazy? People are crazy. All right. So let me go ahead and get rid of this really quick. All right, let's go to the next question. I need to get through this. I'm going to try to get through this in a very timely manner. The next question, could any of the officers have been charged with murder? And the answer is no, not one single officer could have been charged with murder. That is the whole thing, right? They're all in an uproar right now. They're all burning down. I can see it on the TV right now. They're currently burning down a city and other cities in our great United States, and maybe even in other countries, who God only knows. But it's because they wanted these officers shot. But it was never going to happen. And I was trying to warn people when this occurred. I said they're not going to be charged with murder. They did not wake up. These officers didn't wake up in the morning, get together, and then say, you know what? Let's go murder somebody. Who do you want to murder? Well, I know this girl named Breonna Taylor. She was in an apartment. Why don't we tonight kick open the door and shoot her in the head? Right? Let's do that. We know that didn't happen. We know that because there's an investigation to go in and do a research. There's nothing to indicate that these officers had any thought process to go out and murder anybody on that day. That's not how we work as law enforcement officers. And so there is no indication of any sort that they went there to shoot her through a door blindly, right? Remember, they could not see this person, so there is no intent to kill anybody. What they were trying to stop is being shot at. They'd already been hit. The sergeant had already been shot in the leg and hit when they decided to fire. It was after they were shot at that they began shooting through a door, right? Trying to hit whatever was shooting at them. They didn't know who was shooting at them. Murder requires malice aforethought. I don't care what state you're in, because they all have different levels of murder. Some have 3 levels of murder. Some have 6 levels of murder, or 5 levels. They have all, but always in murder, you have to have malice aforethought. You are thinking about it ahead of time and then deciding, you know what? I'm going to murder that person. I'm going to kill them. For whatever reason, right? There was no malice aforethought. It was never, ever, 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 one more ever going to happen. And so this thought, and again, you're dealing with people that are morons. They are dumb shits. That this was never going to happen. Well, whoever told you that they were going to get convicted of murder, charged with murder, much less convicted of murder? It was never going to happen. And yet you had news media and pro ball, players, sports players saying that, they're going to get her for murder. They have to be convicted of murder. They can't. Maybe manslaughter, maybe, but not even that. They were shot out first. This was never going to happen. The people just really are dumb, right? Just really stupid dimwits. And that they believe these people that just keep telling the story. They went there intending to kill Breonna Taylor, who was sleeping, and they wanted to wait till she was asleep, and they wanted to shoot her in the head. Oh, they did? Okay. No, this was never going to happen. They could never have ever been charged with murder. Was not going to happen. When just a few days ago, when I was hearing on the news that they were boarding up the buildings and, putting trucks in certain positions, that kind of stuff. I go, oh, well, they're finally going to come out and say, hey, we're not convicting anybody of murder, because we all knew, right? Most of us that have some intelligence, most Republicans who have a brain, not Democrats, of course, because they're as dumb as rocks, that none of them ever saw it coming. What? They're not convicted of the murder? No, they're not. They never were. It never was. They didn't even look at it, I don't think. All they did is look at this other cop He's the only one who I don't think hit Breonna. The one cop who didn't hit Breonna, he's the one who's getting charged with a crime, which he also is not going to be convicted of in the end. They might, but I doubt very much that they're going to convict him of anything. They had to do something. Then there's no way on God's earth that they could have ever done anything as far as them shooting Breonna. There was nothing that they could. There's nothing on the books, right? Even the DA said, you know what, police work doesn't have a solution for everything, and this is not covered under anything. This is just something that happened in the process of serving a search warrant. And there was nothing that they have. There's not. The only thing they got this one little thing that the guy shot into an apartment without knowing what he was shooting at, and happened to shoot into another apartment where there was a pregnant lady supposedly. And so, well, we'll get him for that. And in the end, knowing that they're even though they indicted him for it, he's probably not going to be convicted of it. That they had to come up with something. That's all they had, because everything else was by the book, which is going to be answering one of my other questions. All right. So, does it matter? Okay. Does it matter that Breonna's boyfriend legally owned and fired the weapon? Does that matter? Let me look at something really quick here. Okay, I was just looking at the comments really quick. So does it matter that Breonna's boyfriend legally, because we keep hearing that too. I keep hearing, well, he legally had a gun and he legally shot the sergeant in the leg. Okay. That's probably why he wasn't charged with anything, right? I mean, it's again, I think they didn't charge him because they were trying to figure out how can we do something so that, or not do something so that people don't destroy our city, right? I think in most times in our history, especially recent history, he would have been charged with shooting at a police officer, and he would be doing time and being imprisoned probably by now. But because of the controversy of everything, they thought, well, maybe we shouldn't charge him. We can not charge him. We have that ability. And I think that's the only reason why he wasn't charged. But does it matter? Even then, does it matter? No. Listen, we serve search warrants on, again, thousands of search warrants daily in the United States of America. And often we're serving search warrants on homes and businesses, for that matter, on locations where the people that we are going in after legally have weapons all the time. And they could legally shoot at us as we're entering, I guess, if you really look at it like this Breonna case. But most people don't. They can see the cops through the window. They can hear when we go, NI Police Department, we're coming in. Open the door, right? We know, like, oh, shit. And they know that they're criminals. They know, like, oh, man, they finally caught us. Right? In most cases, most bad guys, sorry, dog, I just scared the dog. Most criminals know, oh, shit. And they know better than to shoot at the cops. Because you know why? Because cops shoot back. They shoot back. So it does not matter. I don't know why I keep hearing this. Well, you legally have the gun. And you're like, okay, but they're still going to shoot back if they're getting shot at. What do you think? They're not going to shoot back? When they know that they're going after a drug dealer, when they've identified people by name, when they've identified the vehicles that they use to transport narcotics, when they're in the middle of conducting a lawful investigation for a felony, that at some point you have to go and get them. At some point, you want us to, as citizens of the United States, as taxpayers, you want us to investigate criminals when we've identified them and we believe we have either enough evidence or we need more evidence, and so we have to serve a search warrant. You want us to go forward with that investigation. Part of going forward with that investigation is at some point you go, all right, guys, let's get a plan together. I showed you the whiteboard. I don't have it with me. Actually, I don't know. Let me see if I have it on here. I might have. Oh, yep, here's the whiteboard. So here's the whiteboard of their plan to go in. I just happened from another broadcast that I did. Hold on, let me get rid of this. And this is the plan. So they put together a plan, the officers involved, the locations that they were going to, and how they were going to start. And down in the red are where the hospitals are. It is a plan. On the left are the targets, the pictures of the people that they're targeting, who they are going after, who they're hoping to make contact with and either arrest or question. It doesn't always mean because you have a search warrant that you're going to arrest anybody, but those are the targets that you want to, contact and identify and maybe place under arrest if you find narcotics. And that you put this whole plan together. This was a plan not to kill somebody, but a plan to go in and investigate the crime. You want this to happen as a tax-paying member of our community. And at some point, you have to serve that warrant and go in and do your job. And sometimes it's going to be on a house where somebody legally has a gun. And if they misidentify you, they might shoot back. But in most cases, as a law enforcement, you have to assume that they're shooting you because you're law enforcement and coming in to investigate a crime. What else do we have? They've put themselves, it's the criminals that have put themselves in that position, not us. The criminals who've made those decisions, those choices to commit those crimes. It is the people that are hanging out with those criminals who have made that choice to hang out with those criminals and happen to be there at the time we serve a search warrant. What else do you want us to do? We do everything we can to make sure that we're going to the right place. We have pictures. We make sure and watch it. We surveil it sometimes to make sure that there's not children. I've served search warrants and kicked down doors with children inside. And we know there's children, but we don't. There's never not any children inside. But at some point, we have to do it. There's no way around this. Well, quite often, we knock on the door and say, hey, we got to come in and serve the search warrant. That's how we do it most often. I'm going to get to the no-knock part of it in just 1 second. But we know. Right, we know what we're doing. We know where we're up against. We know the dangers of doing it. We think not only is it important to safeguard the people inside, but we want to be safe too. We don't want to get shot. We do everything we can not to get shot. Again, we have hospitals identified because we want to be able to get to the hospital quickly before somebody dies. It's super important. Knowing where those hospitals aren't just for us. It's where we take any victims that may have been shot. Right, whether it's innocent bystanders or people inside and people that we didn't know were inside. And that's happened. I've served search warrants with elderly people inside, with children inside, with dogs and animals on the inside. And sometimes stuff happens. Dogs get shot because they attack us as we're entering a building. It is part of doing the job. All right. So I hope I didn't beat this up too much, but you got to understand the fact that he had a gun legally and shot it perhaps legally and shot the sergeant perhaps legally, that makes no difference. It makes no difference whatsoever. And you can keep repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. It doesn't change anything. We do it all the time where we're serving search warrants. All right. I'm sweating. I'm so sweaty. All right. All right. Let's talk about this note. And I saved it towards the last. And just about no-knock warrants. No, and I've talked about this, and I just need to talk about it again, that no-knock warrants, to take those away and out of the ability out of our tools as law enforcement is ludicrous. That you're going to say that we can no longer have no-knock warrants. They're important. Sorry, I'm yelling. I'm gassy. Gas going on. And it is extremely important to have this ability. And I'm going to share back. I'm going to go back and get rid of this other article here, and share with you the warrant and show you why, at least in this case, they decided to show to have a no-knock warrant. And there's a specific reason in this case. And one of those things, of course, is let me come back here real quick. Of course, having a no-knock warrant, one of those things is for safety, right? You want to get in quickly before they have time to get a weapon and start shooting at you. That if you can you can surprise them, come through the windows and the doors and sometimes through a wall, which we've done. We've taken our RAM and gone right through a wall, and then we enter as quickly as possible before they get weapons. That is one of the reasons for a no-knock warrant. But there's other reasons for a no-knock warrant. And I'm going to show you one of the things that they addressed here on their warrant. Let me find it first so you don't have to see me scrolling around. Hold on. You're going to see me kind of just hemming and hawing. I wish I knew something I could tell you really quickly, but I don't have anything that I can say that's going to match the mood of what it is we need to be talking. Hold on. Stand by. Oh my gosh, where is it? There we go. All right. So I'm going to come back. It's a very short paragraph. And that is right here. Affiant is requesting a no-knock entry to the premises due to the nature of how these drug traffickers operate. These drug traffickers have a history of attempting to destroy evidence, have cameras on the location that compromise detectives once an approach to the dwelling is made, it's just a typo. And I have history of fleeing and have a history. Sorry about that. And he just transferred the history of fleeing from law enforcement. So the no-knock is, of course, when he says it compromises the location as they're approaching. That is the safety part of it. But they also have a history of attempting to destroy evidence. And again, what's the purpose for the search warrant? The purpose of the search warrant is to gather evidence. And especially if you're coming in the middle of the night, it's hard to get a warrant also in the middle of the night. Usually we have to do it before people go to sleep, but they're getting one in the middle of the night, no knock. And the purpose is because they know they have cameras so that they can see the detectives coming, and they want to be able to rush up there really quick and kick open the door and go inside and get in there before they have a chance to start flushing narcotics, start destroying evidence, getting a weapon and arming themselves. All right. So it was for a number of reasons. It's not just because they wanted to go in there and shoot Breonna Taylor in the head because she was sleeping. No, it was they needed to get in because they didn't want them destroying evidence, because this is a search warrant for evidence. Do you understand that? And so a no-knock warrant allows them to get inside before any evidence is destroyed. That's the purpose. It would be a waste of time of doing everything that they did to get inside if they got inside, if they go, hello, we need to get in. Give us a couple minutes. We need to get dressed. Hurry, destroy the evidence. Okay, we'll be at the door 1 second. Do you see? I've been through this. We'll be at the door in 1 second. You start hearing the water, right? You hear the toilets flushing, right? You hear a bunch of stuff, scrambling. Well, babe, we're just getting dressed, and you hear all kinds of stuff going on inside. Listen, I've been there before, where I've knocked on the door and heard all this ruckus. And you can see through the window where they begin to start destroying stuff and putting in the garbage disposal, and they start getting rid of stuff. The whole point of the no-knock warrant isn't to get inside to kill anybody. So this whole talk about getting rid of the no-knock warrant is, again, it's ludicrous. It makes it more dangerous for law enforcement, and then it doesn't allow us to do its job so that we can gather evidence, because people now are going to be smart enough now. Well, now they have to knock, and they have to knock 3 times, give us 3 warnings before they boot down the door, because that's what it's going to come down to. And that is not what we want, right? We want to get inside to get the evidence and not have to kill somebody because they start shooting at us. All right, so now I'm going to get to the part where I don't hear anybody talking about this, but I'm going to spout it out here. And so, did the officers not knock? No, they did knock. They knocked and announced themselves. We even heard Daniel Cameron, the DA with the Louisville Police Department, or city of Louisville. I guess it's the county, because he's a DA. So whatever that county is, I don't know what county it is. But we learned that they did knock and announce themselves. And there was a witness who heard them do that. Now, they didn't have to. And again, I'm gonna hit something here that it's not. I've not heard one person talk about this yet. And but they did knock. And my problem is that they had a no-knock warrant. Why did they knock? They should not have knocked. Breonna Taylor, and I hate to say this because I just want to say it out loud, because I've been thinking it as long as I've known that they actually knocked. I've known it for a long time. Is that if they wouldn't have knocked, Breonna Taylor might not have been shot. That is the problem. But you see that they've stuck themselves to a story that they didn't knock, and now they need to get rid of no-knock warrants. Now you have congressmen and senators writing bills to get rid of no-knock warrants. Everybody's married to this idea that no-knock warrants are evil and get people killed. But now that they find out that they actually knocked, what are they going to do? But they're saying because she's dead because of the no-knock warrant, because they did not knock, that she's dead because of that. No, I'm arguing that she's dead because they did knock, but they have a choice. It's not they did anything wrong. Okay, I want to make sure that this is addressed too. I'm not saying they did anything wrong per se. They made a decision based on, because they know not knocking is a kind of a big deal, and just booting down a door, rushing up and booting down a door and going inside as quickly as possible is a big deal. And you want to be able to articulate why you did that. And if something bad happens, you want to be able to write on a report why you went in there and made the decision. But they had it approved by the judge not to knock. Why did they knock? Oh, if they wouldn't have knocked, we would not even be having this discussion. If they would have booted the door and gone in there, then there's a really good chance that Breonna Taylor would still be alive. And I hate saying that, because it sounds like I'm saying the cops did something wrong. They just made a choice. They just decided on that night, on that event, for whatever reason, the information leading up to that point is that they decided, you know what, let's knock. Let's not utilize our warrant in the way that it's written, that we can do a no knock. Let's go ahead and knock. And it's a decision that's made at the time. And they made the decision at the time where they knocked, they announced themselves. That allowed enough time for the suspect to get his gun, shoot, hit the sergeant. He's shot. And now they got to return fire. If they would not have knocked and gone in without a knock, I have a really strong feeling, and I hate to say this, that Breonna Taylor would still be alive. And it pains me to tell you that, but that's the truth, I think, based on everything that I know and when I've done these types of things. All right. So in the end, I'm going to come to this one right here. Did law enforcement? I'm sorry, I dropped my water when I was pounding on the door. Give me 1 second. I'm dying of thirst and I'm sweating. I hope I don't have any sweat stains underneath my arm. And I can see I have a lot of comments. I'm going to get to those comments in a second. I just want to finish up here and I'll get to all the comments. So did law enforcement do anything wrong or illegal? No, not even really the guy who shot and he's the one being indicted. Again, I don't believe that he's actually going to be charged. I think they just had to come up with something to see if they could just like, hey, maybe we already know they're dumb. We already know that the people that believe that what they've been told by the sports players and the media, they believe that. So maybe they're dumb enough to think that because we charge this guy with 2 or 3 different felonies, they're wobblers, by the way, they're not true felonies, that maybe they'll think we've done enough and they won't destroy our city. Well, I think they're pretty dumb to think that that was going to work. And no, I don't believe that third officer, again, the only officer that did not hit Breonna is the one being charged, right, with something, that he will be actually convicted of anything. If he's convicted, it'll be of the lesser, the misdemeanor, and he'll get probation or something like that. He won't serve any time. But no. In everything that I've looked at in this case, I've looked at the search warrant. I look at all as much as I have. I don't have everything that the grand jury had, but I have a lot, I think, and I have discussed this with certain people. Again, I can't tell you everybody I've discussed this with, but they did nothing wrong. You've been told that they've done something wrong from the very beginning, from the day that it happened. You've been told that she was asleep. That she was an EMT, that they had the address wrong, that they just randomly found this apartment with her in it and shot her in the head. You've been told all this stuff. None of that is true. This was an active criminal investigation where she was identified as a player in this narcotics trafficking ring, so to speak. And they were serving a search warrant, and she unfortunately got killed. It's a tragedy that she got killed. Maybe at some point she would have changed her life. Maybe at some point she would have become a doctor or something, and everything would have been perfect, and she would have turned life. But we'll never know, because unfortunately she surrounded herself with criminals. And in the course of serving a lawful search warrant, where they actually went further to try to just be, not so harsh and kicking open the door, she ended up getting killed. And that's what happens in some of these things in regard to law enforcement. I'll share some other stories. Let me look at the comments, and maybe if there's time, I'll share some stories of times where things happen. Bad things happen sometimes when we're doing police work, and it doesn't always go as we like. It doesn't go as well as we want it to. And some innocent people get hurt, and some people get killed in pursuits. We've seen this, right? We've seen innocent people driving down the road get run into either by a patrol car or the vehicle that we're pursuing, and hit a family in a van. A family van, and the entire family perishes. And it happens. It doesn't make the cop that was chasing him a murderer. It doesn't mean that we have to stop chasing bad guys. It's an unfortunate thing that happens in our world. And if we could if we can make it different, if we could do something different, we absolutely would. We have all kinds of tools, but you're beginning to take some of those less lethal options away from us. And the more that you take away from us, the more people that are going to die. The reason we have them is because we've learned, hey, when we don't knock, it actually saves lives. And we don't have to get into a shooting. And so did the officer do anything wrong? No, and nothing illegal, and nobody's going to go to jail and serve any time. And that's the hard truth. All right. Wow. We have a lot of comments. I'm going to see if I can get to this. Hold on. Wow. So sorry. I have a lot of comments from all the different platforms. Wow, hold on. I keep scrolling up. She was not innocent, correct? That's because the real headline. Let's see what this is. That's because the real headline would not draw people to watch. If they said the truth, no one would care. That is true, but I believe that it's more sinister than that. There is a portion of our country, especially right now, that is. Have you not seen? I'm not saying this, Chris, that you're saying anything wrong. There are people that just want headlines, right? But there are people that want chaos. I mean, we see that in the press room of the White House, the way that they ask the questions. They're trying to incite stuff. They're trying to get people to hate the press. They've been working on it the entire 3.5 years, almost 4 years that he's been in the press. They're really trying to create hatred. They're trying to create this chaos in our country. In addition, that it does not make a headline, but also you have the other side that they truly are just horrible, nasty people that are trying to create chaos in our world. That is what they're hoping for. They're not doing it because they simply want a headline. They're doing it because they want chaos. And so, yes, you're right, but they also, I think it has something else more to it. Don't hang out with you don't hang out with drug dealers, and you don't get shot, and don't shoot cops, and you won't die. Okay, I'm not sure if that was way back when I was talking about something else, which is why they should have done yes, they should have done the no knock. And I've been dealing with that, and I've never said it out loud as far as I know to anybody. This is the first time I'm saying it out loud, but I've been wanting to say it out loud that when I found out that they knocked on a no-knock warrant, it ended up happening, that they should have not knocked. But again, I don't know why I'm the only one talking about it. I've not seen one person. Again, they're married to this idea that there was the no-knock warrant that got her killed, when in fact it was the knock on the no-knock warrant that got her killed. But again, nobody's talking about it. All right. Don't let the facts get in the way of the narrative. Yeah, facts. I always say facts to Democrats is like kryptonite. No, not facts, not truth. I don't want to hear the truth. I don't want to hear facts. I have some really crazy Christian Hispanic people that I go, wait a minute. Do you not do you not read? Do you not understand? Do you not know what is actually happening in the world? And again, I get shocked at Jewish friends who are voting for Biden. Like, do you not know? It's just really crazy stuff. Did they ask them nicely to come out and give up the drug? No, yeah, that rarely works. I'm not sure that that's ever really worked. Again, I've looked at well in the area of probably 1,000 search warrants. Searches. Not all of them. Some are warrantless searches. When you have a narcotics detection dog, it's when a dog alerts you, you can now search. Now they call that a warrantless search. But I've looked at the documentation regarding the warrantless searches. So to me, it's all the same. So there's either warrantless searches based on a narcotics dog's alert, or it's actually looking at a warrant and then the use of the narcotics dog to do other stuff. But I've looked at a lot, and everything, they had everything in line. There was nothing wrong other than that one little typo that I found. And there's probably other typos. But other than that, again, they shouldn't have knocked. That is an issue. Maybe they should have called ahead. Yeah. Why? That's exactly right. I don't know. That's what it's going to come down to. That's really what it's going to come down to. And you'll see, I mean, actually there'll be, we'll have more beds in prisons because we'll not be able to convict anybody because everybody's like, come on in, and everything will be cleaned up. It'll look really nice. I've searched some nasty shitholes in my life when serving a search warrant. Oh my Lord. Some of these places are just literally shitholes. You talk about shithole cities like Baltimore and parts of Chicago and what they're doing to San Francisco. That is a shithole, by the way. Los Angeles is a shithole that I've seen. These people not only live on the streets that way, they live inside apartments that way. And it is nasty. I hated it. That was the worst part of my career, was searching shitholes. It's nasty. Some of these apartments and homes that you have to search, bad. But yes, if we called ahead, then they'd be cleaned up and there'd be nothing there. All right. So left is okay with guns now. Yeah. It's like, yeah. So now, yeah, it's okay. It was legal. It was legal. They had a gun. So it's okay that he shot the sergeant. It was all legal. All right. And now they're attacking potentially, like, we don't know which woman that our great president is going to nominate for the Supreme Court. But of course we have one, and I don't know, both the two top ones are both Catholic. I think maybe they both are Catholic. But you remember when our great president said, Biden doesn't even believe in God. And they go, oh, he's a Catholic. He's a wonderful Catholic. He goes to church. He is a fantastic Catholic. And he's so good because he's a Catholic. And now they got this person, and she's a Catholic. She's a horrible person. Wait a minute. You just said Biden's fantastic because he's Catholic. And now you want him to be president, but you don't want him on the Supreme Court. What? Yeah. Yeah, they're so stupid. I mean, it really are some of the. And again, I look at some of my Christian friends or Hispanics that I know that are like, "Oh, our president is so evil and a horrible person." Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you okay? I mean, you want to like touch their head? Are you okay? I think maybe you might be sick. Oh my gosh, let me see. You guys have some good comments. When it fits the narrative, exactly. If they surprise the perp, they don't have time to hide. Sash, you gotta go ahead. Exactly. I'm sorry. I'm just reading some of these now. I know you were commenting on these earlier. Just a minute. I'll be right there. Who is it? They're flushing crap. We actually turn off the water lines in some cases really quickly. We've done that. Shut off the water so that they can't flush the toilets. And so that sometimes is done. So they can't do that. Just a minute. Don, you're killing me. Dave's not here. There is Cheech and Chong. Is that what you're going for? Cheech and Chong. Cheech and Chong were the best. Cheech and Chong. Oh my gosh. All right, let's see. Christina, it's like you have said before about no tasers, no flashbangs, no spit hoods. So what is nothing? There's nothing. Exactly, Christina. And you're right. I have talked about this before, but when you begin to take all these less lethal tools, what is left? You got combat and then shoot and kill. That's it. You've taken away the carotid restraint, not the chokehold. It's completely different. The carotid restraint, very fantastic. Very fantastic. Can you say that? A fantastic tool for getting somebody to a position where you can actually handcuff them and stop fighting. The carotid restraint is amazing. Carotid restraint is used every day, hundreds, if not thousands of times in every dojo across the United States. And people don't die. A carotid restraint is fantastic. It is a great tool. They're taking it away. The tasers, flashbangs, you take it all away, and we have nothing. We have to go back to just clubbing them over the head or shooting them. That's all we have. You've left us nothing. We have to go back to this, to the billy club, the gun and the billy club. Those are the two things, and the occasional flashlight. My flashlight was used far more often than my PR-24 or striking tool. All right, the choice was influenced by absolutely every yes, absolutely, Chris, you are correct. Yes, they allow them to be influenced by the media. Yep. Rita, it's the boyfriend's fault. She got shot. He's the only one. Not. Yeah, that is crazy, Rita, and you are absolutely correct. That again, there's just the sense that they have to appease these people. I didn't address that the mom was given $12 million, whatever. I think it's something like $12 million. Again, people say, well, obviously they did something wrong, or else they wouldn't have given her $12 million. No, it happens all the time. I was charged with assaulting somebody under the color of authority, and they were trying to sue the city, hundreds of thousands of dollars because of a guy that I handcuffed. He later went home and he had his friends, or he did it himself, where he scraped his face on the wall and caused an abrasion on his face. There's no way that happened while I was handcuffing. It didn't happen. And so they took pictures of this abrasion on his face. And again, there's no way where I handcuffed him where that could have happened. Anyway, he ends up suing the city for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I'm named as the officer who assaulted him under color of authority. They ended up settling with him for something like $20,000 because they just did. They go, you know what? We're not gonna. It's too much work, or let's just settle with him instead of all this kind of. So there's different reasons why cities settle and pay off. It's because they're trying to avoid something. It doesn't mean. And I tell, why are you doing that? It's going to make it look like I did something. I didn't do anything wrong. And I said, well, the city attorney that I was working with, she goes, well, there's nothing I can do about it. The city wants us to settle. There's nothing that we can do about it. They're gonna pay off. The thing is, the only thing that I knew is that the attorney was taking all of the money, and the kid who scraped his face on the wall to sue the city, he ended up getting like $1,000 in the end. That's all he got. He didn't get any money, really, compared to what the attorney got. The attorney got all of his fees and then plus some. And so the attorney took almost every dime of the, I think it was something like $20,000 or $30,000 that they just gave. This, if we just give you this, we'll settle out of court, and we don't take it, and it'll cost them more to pay the city attorney and everything, all the other costs that go along with fighting a lawsuit that they just paid off. The kid. The victim got literally nothing, which was the only thing I kind of laughed about. But the attorney, right? The attorneys make all the money. The attorneys don't care. How much of that $12 million do you think the mother's attorney got? A couple million, right? I mean, a large portion of that 12 million. The mother did not get the whole 12 million. It's the attorney that got, and the city was settling to try again to appease people, not because they felt that the officers did anything. The officers did nothing wrong. And so, no, this argument that I hear from people, well, they obviously did something wrong or else they wouldn't have paid the mom $12 million. No, that's not true. And I've told you before that we've done stuff out in the street in the middle of the night, and we have an city attorney that comes to the crime scene if we shot somebody by accident or somebody got hit by a ricochet or something like that, and we write them a check for $20,000, $30,000 that night and then have them sign a form that they won't sue us. It happens all the time. This is not unusual. And so not charging the boyfriend, I think, is one of those things where they decided, what if we not charge him? Maybe that'll keep the people from rioting and tearing apart our city. Does Tuesday of next month, 3 p.m. work? For what? I'm so sorry. I saw that I had a message from you. I got to look and see what that message is. Maybe that's what you're talking about. I'm so sorry, Don. I get so many darn messages. I can't keep up. And it's not that yours isn't important. It's just I don't see them until they're below the fold. And then if I don't scroll down, I don't see them. And you're not the only one. My assistant hates my guts too. My assistant yells at me, "You didn't return my message. I sent you 5 messages." Sorry, I didn't see it. How does a drug dealer in and out of prison legally have a gun? That's true too. But again, I'm hearing that it was legal. The boyfriend that was there that night, I'm not sure that he's ever been arrested. It was the other boyfriend that they thought was coming. He's the one who just got out of prison. I'm not sure about this boyfriend. This boyfriend may not have just have been caught yet. But he definitely was being watched, right? He was being surveilled, and his name was also on the warrant. So they knew he was a drug dealer. He just had not been arrested yet. The boyfriend that was coming out of prison, they thought it was. He's the one who had been arrested before. All right. Very fantastic. Yes, it's very fantastic. All right. It's an admission of guilt. It's not an admission of guilt. Yes, absolutely. 70%, 75% of 12. Are you making that up, or do you know that for sure? Again, the attorney's getting a boatload of money. Just trust me on this. The attorneys know exactly what they're doing. Man, they see something. They're ambulance chasers, right? They go, "Oh, we got to get hold of the mom. We're going to sue the city. In the end, we're going to get millions of dollars, and I'm going to get a large portion." I'm not sure if it is 75%, but it's a lot. All right, my friends. Again, I hit another hour. I've gone over an hour. I really was trying not to go over an hour. Thank you for watching. I hope this has answered some of the questions for those of you that maybe, because I know some people just turn off the news. And they go, "God, I don't want to hear what's going on." I have news going on the TV, news going on my phone. I got news on my computer. I'm looking at this stuff all the time, and I find it interesting and humorous in many ways, and also alarming. And so I think it's important for me to do this. And so if there's anybody watching that maybe was not aware of all this is going on, some of this is coming out in the news, but some of it I knew ahead of time. But you want to wait, right? You want to wait. The whole thing about they shouldn't have knocked. Again, I've not heard anybody talk about this. Again, I think so many people are married to this thought that it's the no-knock warrant that's to blame for her death, and it's not the no-knock warrant that's blamed for her death. It's the fact they knocked when they had a no-knock warrant that's I think caused her life. And I think that's the story that they don't want to talk about, because now they have all these bills that are going forward and they don't want to change anything that's going on. So I hope this was helpful in understanding some of it. The cops did nothing wrong. The one cop who got indicted, I'm telling you, and I've been right. Those of you who've been watching me for the last several months know that I have yet to be wrong on anything, as far as I know. My ex-wife won't tell you that, but most of the stuff, I think that I've been correct. All right, my friends, I love you. God bless you, and stay safe, and understand that you have to begin speaking out and be vocal about what's going on. Contact your representatives. Vote in November. There's only one vote, right? There's only one vote that you have, and that's this one right here. This vote right here. First, this vote. This always. Start your day with this vote first, and then this vote. is on there. All right, my friends. I love you. God bless you. Take care. Bye. Oops. Oh, shoot. I almost ended without my theme song. How dare I? I can't end without my theme song. First, let's do this. And now this.